Welcome back to the Sustain and Innovate conference. Now we are looking forward to an expert when it comes to the circular economy. It's Lisa Strasser. She is Creative Sourcing Manager at Schöffel, and she will give us an introduction to the topic of the conference, Nothing to Waste, Closing the Loop. Hello, Lisa.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
So you will give us a short overview about circular economy, closed loop and monocomponent materials.
Yes.
So we love to listen to you.
Thank you.
And feel free to ask questions. We have a question and answer session after this.
So I start my presentation. So I hope you can see it. So unfortunately, it doesn't work. Okay. So at the very beginning, I'm starting with my structure. Is recycling sustainable? Monocomponent, circular economy, current state of research and the impact of the corona crisis on the recycling industry, recommendation for action and my conclusion. So is recycling sustainable? Monocomponent, recycling, circularity depends all on the same way. So recycling, processing and reuse of raw materials. I have a few examples pro and contra. In general, recycling is only after the end of the life cycle it is considered how the product can be recycled. Pros, we use less new resources and use of existing resources. Contra, if we use at monocomponent synthetic fibers, we have the microplastic problem. It is more expensive than virgin articles, and we have the recycling pirates, which are using new PET bottles for producing recycling fabrics. Short introduction of monocomponent. In general, it's only one unique single from one component. This contends not only to the garment, also to other products like packaging from the food industry. And for the garment, it's really important that all materials out of the garment are the same materials. So lining, trims, padding, everything has to be the same. And what we produce today will not be recycled already tomorrow. So we have to think about now what we produce now and will be recycled in 1 or 3 years. So circularity in general is securing recycling cycle of raw materials, which ideally never ends. And I have 3 different principles at circularity. First is the closed loop. So from a product, the same product is produced again. If I have an aluminum can, I produce a new aluminum can. And the open loop principle is from one product, another product is made. So it's important that the circularity is given, but I can produce out of an aluminum can, for example, camping dishes. And then I have cradle to cradle. So they self say that right at the beginning of the design process, consider how the garment can be returned to the cycle at the end. So that's the difference to recycle. At cradle to cradle, I am thinking at the beginning what I will do with the garment if the life cycle is ending. And at recycling, I have the ready garment and the life cycle is ending. And now I am thinking about what I can do with it now. Let's talk about research approaches. I'm starting with the sorting, and here I have 2 examples for you. First, I have Resintex. It's a post-consumer textile waste can be transformed into secondary raw materials, creating circularity and reducing environmental impact. And this is a chemical recycling. Next to it, I have Textiles, and it's supported by Tex8, and they are thinking about which fiber blends are available and what is the best way to sort them. And actually, it will test it by a prototype. Here I have secondhand and downcycling. Downcycle is downgrade a product to a lower quality product like carpets, cleaning clothes, or insulation material for house buildings. And however, this will not work at every garment and every textiles. The rest has to be burned. And secondhand is an extension of the life cycle, so it does not belong to circularity directly, but also reduce textile waste. At upcycling, in general, it means from old to new, also reducing waste. And but every person feels the value of a product differently, so it depends on the person by itself what he feels at upcycling. One example for innovative partnerships. So here you can see where to were, and they say from itself that our vision is to produce high quality textile products from 100% old textiles. And where to were is an association of different companies along the product development. And they're starting at fiber and yarn producer, go over from the design cycle to manufacturer, and ending at upcycling again. Separation of mixed textiles. Here you can see 3 different examples, starting with Worn Again, and they self-say from Worn Again that the recycling technology is able to separate, decontaminate, and extract polyester and cellulose from non-reusable textiles and polyester bottles and packaging to produce dual PET and cellulose outputs. It's a chemical recycling, especially for polyester, polycotton, and PET. And next to it, you can see the fiber sort. It's an automatic sorting of old clothes according to fiber composition. And for me, the important thing is remix. It's separation of nylon and elastane fibers from fabric blends. It's supported by Tex8, and it's the highest and the biggest problem which we have at the recycling industry, that you have to split elastane and nylon from other fibers. Dissolving on demand is also supported by Tex8, and the yarn dissolves with help of microwave radiation, and this helps to separate different fabrics or trims from the garment, so the recycling is much easier at the end. During my bachelor graduation, I have sent a lot of questionnaires to different brands, and these are the results which I get back from them. So here you can see PET, polyester, polyamide, cotton, lyocell, and wool are at the moment mostly used for monocomponent. But what I also got as feedback is that the awareness and the experience with monocomponent and also circularity is not as high. The communication of monocomponent and circularity is really easy to understand, but often not known by the customers. Also, we have the problem that the performance for the outdoor and sport industry of monocomponent fabrics are not good enough for the industry. So you have less elasticity because of the missing spandex or elastane in the outdoor and sport industry. So it's not suitable for using it there. And also they informed me that the availability of monocomponent products are not given at the moment. So they have maybe a shell fabric or a lining, but the trims are missing. In general, the quality of the products which came back are not as high as in the past years. So the recycling industry informed me that the quantity which they got back or is sorted out by the customers is really high, but the quality is decreasing. Also, they receive a lot of fiber blends, and this is really hard to recycle and to split the different components from each other. And if you will produce monocomponents products, it will be much more easier to recycle. Let's talk about the Corona crisis. We have three different big problems here. First, we have a problem in the sales market of old clothes. So there will be come back a lot from the consumers, but the recycling industry have not enough partners to sell the old clothes or to recycle them. Also, the contamination of old clothes in the containers is a problem. So half of the containers have to be disposed of because garbage is thrown in the containers. And also, as I explained before, the quality of clothing is deteriorating increasingly, and this is a fundamental problem. The aim of my bachelor degree was to write a recommendation for action for the outdoor and sport brands. And if you are interested in to start with circularity or monocomponent, you can see that on the Performance Days website. So about my conclusion. First, the care label is cut out by 50% of the customers. So if the care label will be printed in the garment, the recycling industry have less effort to sort out the clothes. The principle of monocomponent is easy to understand, but at the moment the customers are not informed enough. Workshops between recycling industry and brands can be helpful to find a recycling process that works for everyone. And why not start with leftovers? So they can be recycled in cooperation with garment makers directly in Asia, because that what we already recycle now will be recycled in Germany, but we buy new fabrics from Asia, so make that sense. Also, we have to educate the consumers. Quality decreased, but the quantity increased. So more quality, less quantity. Also, I have a really interesting feedback from the laboratory Hohenstein. They informed me that the recycling icon on each garment could be the solution for an automatic and easy recycling system. I think so too, because in the food industry, the packagings already work with this recycling icon, and that can be a really easy solution to help the recycling industry sorting out different components. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and if you have any questions, you can ask now. Thank you. So I think we have to wait on Astrid.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for this introduction. I think there is one question from Michelle. How do you find low quantity manufacturers for a sports brand startup? Mainly just gym tights for now?
Yeah, that's a problem. So I don't know exactly if you speak about monocomponent in Europe, right?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Yeah, especially you have to think about how is the performance needed at your used garment. So maybe it's not the right technology to use it in tights for sports. Maybe you start with much easier garments like shirts, which have not so much trims and don't need to have so much spandex. Yeah, so I don't think that it's suitable for sports tights.
Okay. Another one, does the quality of the garments affect the possibility to be recycled? If yes, is it because of the quality of the product in the first place or the result of wear and tear?
Yes, it affects the possibility to be recycled. And that's first, the fibers will be broken at the recycling process. And if the quality of the used polyester, for example, or fibers is too bad, you don't have the chance to recycle it to a new polyester fabric, for example, because the quality from the new fabric is so bad that you can not use it again for any sports or outdoor garments.
Another one from Evelina. Is it true that there are very few recycled raw materials on the market that could be used in clothing production?
I think there are a lot recycled fabrics or yarns or fibers which can be used in the garment industry. And I think there's a lot of on the market which you can use. I don't think that it's less.
And Christina is asking, in your opinion, what should trims be made like to enhance circularity?
Maybe we talk about the example polyester. So there are a lot of polyester fabrics which you can use, and if you also use polyester trims, you have monocomponent. Also, there are biodegradable trims which you can use, or you have to think about nature fibers. So if you use nature fibers, you can maybe use some wood buttons or something like that, which is also biodegradable. It depends on the garment and on the use of the garment.
Okay, I think we don't have any other questions at the moment. So, Lisa, thank you so much for your panel.
Yeah, you're welcome.